Hello and good evening, Free Enterprise fans. My name is Xenocat, and welcome to tonight's the first start of our double feature. Oh, I can speak. I'm joined here in the booth tonight by Possum Morpheus. How are you doing tonight, Possum?
I am quite well. Thank you so much for that, Xenocat. I am very excited to see two excellent runners that we have here, Dragus Cloud and Mechalink, go to battle. Very excited to see this and more than happy to be here with you this evening, Xeno.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this matchup. These two are phenomenal runners, and I can't wait to see what they do. But it does look like I'm glad that I'm at least here in the booth to help clean up from Scala's birthday party yesterday, but it does look like our real objectives are get Rosa and defeat Baiken. What do you make of those objectives?
I wanted the birthday leftovers, I'm not going to lie, so I'm a little disappointed in the objectives. At least defeat Baiken is kind of spicy, and spicy is good with food, and I like food, so yeah. Baiken's great. Our runners are going to be super excited that Get Rosa is an option because that means there's a Rosa, and Rosa is the preeminent white mage in Free Enterprise. So I'm sure that the runners are very happy with number 4, Get Rosa, while I'm personally very excited about number 5, Defeat Baiken, because boy howdy, Baiken can be rude.
Yeah, we'll have to see it. It does depend a lot on where he shows up. There are some spots where Baiken can be not so bad, and then there are other spots where, oh boy, that can be rough.
Yeah, I'm hoping for one of those rough spots. But we do have two fantastic runners tonight. I'm sure they're able to handle it. Both of these runners did make top 32 in the last major tournament, so we know that they can handle it. That's equivalent to basically the bracket stage. So Baiken will be doable for them. They just might have to take a second crack at it. But I'm really excited to see these two runners, both at 1-0, go to battle tonight. Anything in particular with this starting Kane? Any particular weapons you might be on the lookout for, Xenocat, to get this Kane rolling?
Other than I know you're trying to get me to say Gungnir's Spear because I'm always Team Gungnir's Spear, which is a very easy to get weapon on T Wildish. I actually prefer the Dancing Dagger to start out because that Dancing Dagger, even though you normally think Kane, he has good weapons, he can do some damage. That Dancing Dagger is going to do more damage than pretty much any weapon is going to do, other than the really top tier Kane weapons at the very starting levels.
Absolutely correct. That Dancing Dagger is probably the second best weapon that you could find for Kane early, other than a Poison Axe. That Dancing Dagger is incredibly good.
But it looks like our runners are off.
Well, that is 2 shots at a Dancing Dagger. And a pass to begin with as well, greeted by a Dark Knight Cecil. Edward, not so great, but he does give you an extra crack at having a Dancing Dagger starting. So 2 different party members who can high roll that. The Dancing Dagger maybe being the best weapon other than possibly like a Flame Spear is another one that's a phenomenal start for Kane. But yeah, this is team you want all the Dancing Daggers to begin here.
Yes, I agree. Dancing Daggers are amazing for this party.
I am curious to see if we get any equipment checks fairly early on here. If our runners check who's in Baron, if they check who's on Hobbs. Routing is going to be interesting here to try to find out, where your white mages are, maybe where your black mages are, and to check some early shops as well.
Yeah, it looks like Dragus Cloud has headed to Damsian to loot that basement, which is not the highest tier of loot, but there's a lot of chests here and they're very close together. So, it's a good density play. Well, Mechalink has gone into Baranan, and we see Tella having brunch with Odin.
That seems like a fun time for probably neither of them. I don't see any sparks of electricity between the two of them in conversation, if you will. Things. Too soon. It's some nice things I've seen so far, though. A Blizzard Spear pickup for Mechalink is fantastic. And I also saw a Stardust Rod item, a Stardust item for Dragus. The Stardust item basically is a single-use comet spell, which could be super helpful early on to get through a boss at, let's say, Mount Hobbs or Antlion to get the party started, if you will. So that could be a very clutch J item pickup early on here.
Indeed. I will also point out that Mecha picked up a rune axe from the grass at the back of Baron Town, which is also a phenomenal weapon for Kane.
Yeah, so that means we've seen both rune axe and mute knife. Now we do see Edward starting at least with charm arrows. So on the arrow side, that's a nice high roll. The bow could use a little work, but in a pinch, he can chip in with a little bit of damage.
Yeah, the crossbow, one of the worst bows in the game. I think only the short bow that Rosa normally starts with is less accurate than it.
Well, do you like old men? Because we have another Tella.
Why not?
This Tella having a picnic on top of a mountain with a couple of lunar dragons. Maybe trying to channel his inner Lunarian here.
He really wants to be a Lunarian so bad.
We do see him get ditched for Fusoya quite a bit, so I can't blame him.
Indeed, and it looks like Mechalink peeking the waterfall. I believe that was Bahamut.
I did not see as I was watching this Lunar Dragon fight, but Bahamut there, kind of sad for the runners to see. They would want Bahamut somewhere else since it is generally considered a free boss. But it is nice to have that on the table if an early Fusoya is found, because then that's an easy boss to power Fusoya up with without much work. But we see Mechalink really gearing out this Kane. Going to be almost unbeatable on the overworld, and Dragus did find a dancing dagger on the back of Mount Hobbs. That's a huge pickup.
Yeah, unfortunately, our Kane low rolled tonight with, I believe, a hand axe as the starting weapon.
Well, I mean, a hand axe, it can be thrown. I guess that's a positive.
Yeah, Edge can throw it. It's one thing it has on the spear.
Yes. But yeah, quick recap. What have we seen so far? We have an Edward, a Kane, 2 Tellas, and Dark Knight Cecil and Baron Inn. This is, Baron Castle, with Odin in Baron Inn. Not exactly power overwhelming to start. This is going to be lean on Kane % for quite a while.
Indeed. Until we get up Mount Ordeals, Tella is very limited in what he can do. He still has access to Blink, which is a very powerful spell for keeping your party alive, but not going to be great in the damage department.
Yeah, at least there's a couple of kind bosses to start out with. The D-learners can be exploited with their undead weakness for the Cure 2s to be used on them. The Dark Elf, just not a very difficult boss in general. The Ice 2, Lit 2, Fire 2 combination will actually do a fair amount of damage in Antlion here, but Kane again is just going to chew through this.
Yep, and got enough damage that would kill the boss outright, but Dark Elf always splits into 2 phases, and unfortunately now you have to go through the Dragon phase, which has a separate HP pool from the Elf phase.
Yeah, thankfully that split in Antlion, though, is still like 450 to 550, so it's really not bad either way. Oh, we get a hook. Is it a hook seed?
Oh my. You know where I kind of want to see Baigen just to annoy the runners?
At the Ruby spot?
I was going to say King Queen Evelyn, but Ruby is also good.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say either place on the hook route's fine. With a 2 Tella, Edward, Kane party, plus whoever's at the hook, that could be pretty rude.
Yeah, the King Queen Evelyn spot is extremely punchy, and Baigen gets 3 punches per round. So he can knock half your party down almost immediately, which is fun.
I do agree with this play from Dragus here. Let's go take a peek at this Hook character. Let's take a look at the shop. Maybe find some hourglasses, some coffins, some good J items, and some good loot along the way too, and maybe a crack at a Fusoya even.
Yeah, especially with our slingshot experience turned off for this tournament, I definitely agree with going out of your way to get this character early. Tella has exit, so you can get out of Cave Eblon fairly easily. And there's just a whole bunch of value you can find down here that'll help you get through the rest of the overworld faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I do love diving Hook early when I have the exit spell or an exit item. It really makes it, quite worthwhile. Without it, it's a little tough because you do kind of run into some issues, with possible time loss going in and out of Cave Eblin, with maybe hitting a trap chest. Dragus buying 10 hourglass 2s, that's a very aggressive purchase. That's a lot of hourglass 2s, but will be able to stop any trap chests or random encounters that he wants for pretty much the rest of the seed.
Yeah, especially with SL Corderon, money is a little bit tight on these seeds if you're not looting a lot, and spending that much on hourglasses is quite a commitment.
It definitely is. And speaking of commitments, that Asura is going to be quite the time commitment. I know that one runner has Rune Axe, the other has Mute Knife, but that Asura is still going to be punchy and still going to take a little while to get through.
At least we have 2 sources of Blink.
Yeah.
That's the upside.
Yeah, definitely it's doable. It's just going to be time consuming. But Tella will have access to Wall also, which is nice. The magic is not ridiculous at the Ruby spot, so it is something that the runners will be able to get through without worrying about Asura healing for all the damage that they deal out.
And it looks like we've had a dose of vanilla here with the Staleman chest rolling to its vanilla location. This is excellent find for Dragus. Finding that trap chest right away after saving, can now loot as much as he wants in this cave without any fear of running into those Stalemen.
Yeah, and the loot tier in Cave Eblin is quite high. Pretty low roll so far on items. Drain spears, power staves, not exactly what you're hoping to find. Lightsaber for Sir not appearing in the seed so far. Kind of a low roll Cave Eblin, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that's particularly stood out. But we have the Rocktopus up here on Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, this is the least punchy spot in the game. So this is a nice place to find a physical-only boss at. I'm sure that, our runners would rather, let's say Baigan be there. But I'm sure they're happy to settle for Octomam being here and not having to deal with Octomam at, let's say, the Leviathan spot or somewhere on the moon.
Indeed. Octomam can be really punchy, and it's very difficult to get through the start of a fight with Octomam because Octomam slows down as you get rid of its tentacles, but that first very fast Octomam will punch at high level spots, will punch hard and punch fast.
Yeah, it's an unpleasant experience, especially if you're not anchored to the tune of what we consider traditional agility anchoring, if you will, with a relative agility 1 party. Octomam can just squeeze in so many turns before you get to do anything. But this Octomam, very not punchy and very dead now on Mechalink's side. And we are going to get a full dose of dialogue because we get back attack Dr. Luge here.
Yes, that means Dr. Luge gets to go first and get through a bunch of his dialogue before we can have any say in the matter. Not a scary boss, particularly. The first phase could punch a little bit hard. This back attack spot has better stats than the front of the bridge.
Yeah, the scary part here actually might be the emission in the latter portion of the fight. Once we get the doctor transforming, if you will, that emission is based on the magic attack of the spot, and the magic attack here is actually quite high. I don't think it'll be an issue with Kane's HP pool, but that would actually be the attack I'd be looking to see how much damage it does, is that emission. Meanwhile, speaking of things that are exciting to see, that's a demist defending Fabul. So that's going to be a double check for our runners. So that's a big plus for them.
Indeed. Demist, when it's defeated, will make Rydia's mom appear in Mist Village, and she will hand over a key item. Or has a chance to hand over a key item.
Yeah,
so,
could.
So this Fabul defense is essentially 2 checks for the price of 1.
Yeah, could be a key item, could be any tier 4 to tier 7 item as well. So for our runner's sake, they want it to be one of those power items like, an Avenger or a Darkness Crystal. They don't want it to be like a Flame Whip or a Longsword or, an Ether 2. All of those things can be received, so there's a very wide variance of what you can get from Demist.
Yeah, on T Wildish, it's a little less likely for those tier 4 items to show up from key item rewards, but it can happen. I have seen wizard hats.
Yeah. It feels bad when it happens.
It really does. You fight through a really challenging moon boss, and boom, here's your here's your single cabin. Have fun.
And Demist is down on Dragus' side, and on Mechalink's side, this Dr. Luge should be down shortly. That laser attack only doing 56 damage tells us that Dr. Luge only has about 200 health left, since laser does 25% of its remaining health. And just like that, Mechalink is through Dr. Luge, and Dragus gets, as a reward, the tower key. So another nice item once they're underground, but not a magma key, so Asura is still on the table.
Indeed. One thing I will point out about that tower key is if we do end up having to do the hook route, you get spit out of the hook route in the Falcon, which is, as we all know, the inferior airship. But if you land the Falcon right away and charge up and do that super cannon room, you get the Enterprise back, and everything is great.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. And speaking of great things, another boss that you hate to see in punchy or high magic spots, the Magus Sisters. Mechalink going to be very happy to find them at a free location. Additionally, got the Pan. So we are getting all of the underground checks once our runners are able to make it past that Asura, but not a lot of extra overworld stuff to be done so far. And there's one of those tier 4 items from Demist. That's the Odin summon. That is a gigantic oof.
Yeah, unfortunately, Odin, not a very desirable summon, even if we do have Rydia. It does have some uses, but it's only really useful on bosses that don't have the boss bit, and it's not super accurate.
Yeah, I would rather have an Hourglass too.
Yeah.
Rather than an Odin, not gonna lie.
I fully agree with you.
Looks like the Mist Cave boss was Officer and Soldiers, so Dragus doing a little bit of checking for that Baigen, hoping to find Baigen at a free spot. We now know that Baigen is not anywhere on the overworld that we have seen so far. So Baigen, we have our dream still of being in a very punchy late game location.
Indeed. The only boss spot that is available to our runners at the moment that Baiken could be at is the Magus Sister spot, although with Demist already out of the way, I can't imagine any runner would go there before finding the Earth Crystal.
Yeah, that would be a very low percentage play. I wouldn't do it myself, but if one of these runners did, I wouldn't fault them for it. It also is an extra 9,000 experience before diving the hook route, so there is some merit to it. And we have this Leviathan in the Baron in second spot. This is going to be a little bit of an experience because these Ice 2s could hit for a moderate amount of damage, but this Lit 3 from Tele is going to do a whole lot more than moderate damage. This Leviathan is going to have a bad this Lit 3.
Yeah, turns out the answer to defeating all of the monsters in Baron Inn is just use lightning.
Yeah, I guess the sparks were flying in Baron Inn after all.
I guess so.
And, well, first, again, Sir not appearing in the seed so far, we have another shiny sword. We have a light sword, we now have an Excalibur, and no Cecil to be found. So that's probably, again, not the reward the runners are looking for.
Indeed. Well, that is a tier 7 item, and certainly much better than the Odin summon. Not going to help in the short term.
Yeah, that's... So right now we're looking at, Rune Axe for Kayn is in this situation extraordinarily good, but Rune Axe Kayn does not a Zerker party make. You want a little more beef for your Zerkers. Rune Axe does not really do it for me. Eddie does not really do much other than have that dancing dagger unless we find a spoon. Tellas are going to be able to do some stuff if they can stay alive. This is going to be heavy reliance on Palom and Kayn for this. Yeah, even once our runners get underground, they're still going to be relying primarily on Kayn and Palom.
Yeah, Rune Axe Kayn, I will say, is about towards the bottom end of what I'm willing to take into the Zeromus fight. He can do some things, but he's not spectacular, although it is nice to get that mage bonus against Asura.
Yeah, that mage bonus is the big saving grace here. Otherwise, that Asura fight would take roughly 10 years. I'm glad that our runners have found something to exploit that mage weakness. Now the question becomes, do you go with the jump strats for the Rune Axe, since it is fairly inaccurate? And the jumping adds a little bit of extra accuracy, or do you just Zerk up and let him go wild? It'll be interesting to see which approach our runners take as well, based on the amount of hits that Asura will get back in.
Indeed. I would be tempted to lean towards the jump strats, as the jump strats mean you get more damage per hit, and so Asura is going to take less counter punches, but those hits will come out slower overall than the Zerked up Kayn.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and I don't know what the right answer is, but I think I'm on board with you on that I think I would go the route of jumping. My only concern at that point would be what happens if the wall runs off on Asura, and Tella has to come off blinking duty. It might get a little weird, but Asura may also be fast enough the wall never falls off.
Indeed. We do have 2 Tellas, so I'm a little bit less concerned about having to take one of them off of blinking duty to recast a wall.
That's definitely true. We see Dragus making use of that Stardust item that they picked up. That's going to one-shot the Magus Sisters, get a little bit of time back. The other thing so far that has happened, has Mechalink faded Fabul so far?
I believe so.
Has the tools to get through this hook route for sure, but that's bold. When I don't see a free hook route, I do like to go through Fabul. Now the tower key obviously does not determine anything for the overworld or the ease at which Mechalink can get underground, but that tower key, that super cannon check early on, that could be a huge difference. Looks like Dragus actually popping a Siren up on Mount Ordeals here, getting that double Lilith fight. That's going to be 5,500 XP for his party, so might be doing a little bit of prep before getting underground, trying to get his kid to either Virus or Quake.
Yeah, I don't hate this play. Virus and Quake are huge bells for Palom.
And looks like Mechalink opting to take on the Mad Ogre chest. I believe they should be Hourglass if they aren't already. Yeah, there comes the Hourglass from Palom. That'll be a very nice infusion of XP. If he can get a life glitch on each Mad Ogre here, he will get 7 for the price of 4, basically, and get 16,590 XP, which is a huge chunk of XP this early in the game.
Indeed, these Mad Ogres are quite lucrative, and having that Rune Axe, Kane's able to do a whole bunch of damage to them.
Yeah, the Mad Ogres being classified both as giant-type enemies and, in this case, mage-type enemies for that Rune Axe to exploit the weakness, much like that weakness will be exploited with Asura. So it'll be very, very nice just in general to have that Rune Axe floating around for this entire hook route. And does get through, gets all those levels. Lets the kids stay alive, so not going to be anchoring with Palom, going to be powering Palom up, which is a very common thing you'll see, and rewarded with a Zeus Gauntlet. That's going to be another extra 5 strength for Kane, so going to give him 10 bonus strength in the ring slot instead of just a 5 from the strength ring.
Yes, additionally it does provide an extra 10 vitality as well, and provides resistance to giants, although I'm not sure Mechalink will be fighting any giants other than those Mad Ogres for the rest of the seed.
Yeah, we would have to get something like a weird lunar gauntlet at maybe like the Value Cave, or I think the Crystal Sword Altar, where you end up with red giants showing up in the gauntlet. But other than that, it's highly unlikely that any other giants are going to be found.
The one other thing the Zeus Gauntlet does is it prevents size, although I can't remember if there's any bosses that cast size on you. Oh no, the
Baron Guards.
Baron Guards, yes,
Yeah.
just as I said it. So it is a little bit useful if you want to just go all out with that Kane on Baron Guards, which are also mages.
Yeah. It's a very interesting kind of niche application of it, but could be very relevant. And speaking of alt gauntlets, well, we're not going to get giant type enemies here, but we are going to get an egg, followed by a couple other fights, and then finished up with another egg. This first egg is going to be a Lamia, I believe, and the last egg is a green dragon. That's the scary one. But in between, if I remember right, there's, I think, a Sorcerer Blade Man fight. I think there's a 3 Ogre fight, and I can't remember the last one, but I think that's 4 of the 5 anyway.
I don't remember what the Salt Gauntlet is. All I know is it's rude, but it also provides a bit of extra experience before taking on this Asura.
Yeah, it is fairly nice, I suppose, because this is normally a no XP spot. So this is an extra, I mean, this could amount to 20 to 25,000 extra XP. Now, these black cats are particularly scary, though. Black cats have this wonderful counter that is called Bluster, and Bluster will do one of 2 things. It will either just outright kill your party, one member at a time, or it will paralyze them. Both options stink. Well, that virus was about 25 damage shy of killing it, and now Tella is paralyzed.
Yep, Tella's not going to be able to do anything for a good while. Fortunately, Palom knocking out that Lamia time to avoid the charm counter, and we see the HP ran out on that black cat.
I know that's the normal way I like to kill the black cats, is with HP ran out, just to swag a little bit. You know, you'd love to see it. So good on Mechalink for being a man of the people.
Yes, it's not every seed that you get to see the wonderful HP ran out kill.
Oh, and gets the coffin drop from the black cat as well. That is a black cat's rare drop, so that's a really nice pickup. Truth be told, that coffin is super valuable.
Yeah, I would say that's more valuable than the Odin we got from Demist.
Oh, like infinitely more valuable. But there's a fight that I forgot about. 3 bombs in this gauntlet. I don't remember them because normally they just kind of go away. They don't present much of a problem. But here's the Sorcerer Blade Man fight. The Sorcerer, of course, being a mage type, just explodes here. The Blade Men, if you hit them, they also like to counter with Virus. So it will behoove our runners to one-shot these Blade Men. This could have also been a grind if our runners wanted it. Once both Blade Men are gone from the screen, the Sorcerer will just keep summoning another Blade Man and let you grind. Now, there was a Virus that just flat out missed as a counterattack. You love to see it.
Yeah, these Blade Men do not have the best magic stat. So their viruses are not the most threatening. It's probably not going to knock a party member down.
Oh,
Even
do we get
Tella
an
can survive.
Almost got the HP run out on Tella. I was hoping. Would have got 2 for the price of 1.
No, we can't have 2 HP ran outs in the same alt gauntlet. That's too much.
Well, I'm still allowed to hope. Edward doing his thing, being brought back to life and then hiding, because Edward. Will Tella land the off-center slot Stonecast? The answer is no. Tella life.
Yeah, Tella has the same problem that those Blade Men had, and it's not very accurate.
Oh, it's party time. We got a green dragon, y'all.
Yep, and Green Dragon is punchy, but did enough damage with that Quake that Kane could finish it off with just a fight command.
Which is good, because that green dragon is super rude, and you really don't want to have an extended battle with it.
No, you do not. But with that, Mechalink is through that alt gauntlet, and yes, Mechalink, go save.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope we see a safety save here. That would be extraordinarily bold not to. So I think it's very prudent to go back and save here. Get the free heal, get the party started with Asura, and we'll see what tactic Mechalink opts for versus Asura. If we get the Berserk Cane or the Jump Cane. Meanwhile, Dragus is getting to that alt gauntlet. So Dragus has done Fabul, Mechalink has not. And they are an alt gauntlet apart right now. So too close to call right now. Very close race so far. And we'll see how things proceed once our runners get through this hook route and underground.
It looks like Mechalink is going for the jump strats combined with Quakes from Power.
Yeah, I don't hate it. The Quake should do about 2,500 at this point, maybe a little less. Yeah, about 2,000. The jump was doing about 4K. So 3 jumps, 3 Quakes. So well, no, you need 4 and 4. So 4 jumps, 4 Quakes would get you there. So not too unreasonable.
And now Kane is berserked. This is fine. Did Asura just actually target Edward even though he's hidden?
Apparently so. Today I learned.
Wow. Yeah, did not know anything could target a hidden Edward, but apparently Asura's reflected spells can.
Yeah. It at least cast it on where he's supposed to be.
That was definitely a thing.
That's a first. I've not seen that before. Oh, that's a huge hit. 42-15 on a Zerk swing from Kane. Yeah, so this is just Kane go burr. That Runax putting in work here. And Asura even being kind enough to heal him all the way back to full.
It's so nice.
Yeah, and just like that, Mechalink already threw. Behold the power of the Runax and the vessel to carry it called Kane.
The Runax is a strong weapon. Not the best against non-mages, but for mages, oh boy.
Yeah, and Dragus getting to the Sorcerer Blade Man portion of their gauntlet, making use of all these hourglasses. So, if nothing else, that 10 stack of hourglasses that Dragus bought, coming in super clutch for this gauntlet. No worries on their side whatsoever getting through this. And we see an evil wall at the top of the tower. Not gonna lie, I wish that Asura and Evil Wall were flipped.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Right?
Yeah, Evil Wall's still not the nicest boss at the top of the tower, but considerably less rude there than at the Rubicon spot.
For sure. And we get our second green dragon sighting of the day. We love to see it. I don't know if our runners do.
But neither green dragon fight lasting too long.
Yep, and Mechalink going to go straight to Sheila here. Gonna do the pan checks. Gonna do a little bit of looting along the way. Looks like they found a succubus, which is the same item that they picked up from the chest when you fall through the pitfall. So apparently all of the MP concerns for these tellers are alleviated by random items they can find in chests.
Yeah, you just find random items in chests, and then you don't have to worry about MP anymore. But not going back for it after finding the mobile chest. I forget what the other enemies are called. I don't see them often enough.
Dark trees, I think, which are also technically classified as mages. Fun fact.
Yep, and that I knew. Didn't remember their name. Knew they were mages.
But it's an interesting fight because it is worth, I think it's like 36 or 33,000 experience or something. If you can be relative agility 1 and get a quake off, that's basically an egg worth of experience for no work. So it's interesting. But yeah, Mecha, I think, is probably done playing with trap chests in Sylph Cave for right now and just going to do this pan turn-in.
Yeah, doesn't want to play with any of these enemies down here.
And to answer a question from chat, what Mecha is doing, looking for some really high tier loot. Now there's a spoon, so Edward will be alive for the rest of the seed. That's kind of a big deal. But Mechalink looking for high tier loot. The Sylph Cave has incredibly high tier loot in it because of all the trap chests that are there. So the risk reward is basically you get super high tier loot, things like defense swords at tier 6, things like crystal rings. But the punishment, if you will, is the chests that don't have good loot have monsters in them. And you may or may not be able to take out those monsters.
Well, who says the monsters can't also have good loot?
Oh, they certainly can.
I mean, you don't want to see the monsters. I don't think Mechalink was prepared to fight any of them.
Yeah, it would be a little hard with this party. You'd be relying on Quake, and I don't think he's going to one-shot a lot of stuff yet.
Yeah, but we do have some value in the Feymarch freebie, as that is a legend sword.
Yeah, that's definitely a big deal. And then there's some sirens as well. So Feymarch, huge. Pancheck, huge. So we have Spoonward, we have sirens. Half of the Forge. Underground, very lucrative to start off with. And looks like Mechalink opting to purchase 6 bombs and 16 sirens. A little curious, the bombs, what the purchase was there for. Normally you'd take bombs up to mount ordeals, if anything, to do a little bit of grinding, but with sirens available, you would just use sirens. So might have just been a misclick on the menu, but an interesting purchase nonetheless.
Yes, fortunately bombs are cheap, so if it was a misclick, not too much of a worry.
Right.
We have Dolls and Valvalis here in this Feymarch. Dolls are not bad. It looks like Mechalink is going for those, but I I want to stay away from that Alice for a bit.
One thing of note, though, with these dolls, if you don't Hourglass or Toad or stop the back three, a single Quake does not kill all the dolls here. So this is very heads up by Mecha to use the Hourglass 2 in order to stop them. Now, Mechalink does have one issue here. They are down to 1 life potion already. I don't know if they have purchased more, if I'm just not seeing them in their inventory, but down to 1 life pod is something they might need to go shopping for to finish the seed with a little less struggle than without having life pods.
I can confirm, having recently encountered a seed with where I did not buy life pods, it makes things not work nearly as smoothly as if you have them.
Yeah. And yeah, that Quake did not take out the back 3 dolls, but they are Hourglass, so there is no risk here whatsoever. And we do see Dragus about to get their spoon, so we will have double Spoonward, which is something I think we all love to see.
Yep, and it looks like Mechalink has decided to use that last life pot to life glitch one of the cows.
That's interesting because the spot gives, I think it's like 28,000 XP. This is going to be split up about 12 different ways on this fight. So that extra life glitch is only going to get like 1,000 XP. Not certain that was worth it. If they have extra life pots, though, it won't matter. But have another Excalibur and have objective number 2. Forge is done for Mechalink.
Yeah, that is... Well, we know that Feymarch is where the Forge is.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Dragus is going to show us the Sheila items.
Yeah, the entire Forge in Feymarch is pretty funny. Oh, hey, Sheila says you can get underground now. Turn in the pan, though, Dragus. There we go. And the Twin Harp. Okay, so that's the valuable piece to that. I'm glad Dragus went back to...
Yes, ooh, forgetting that Twin Harp would feel really bad.
All right, I missed it. The Job Dwarf was a Farm Products something that went too quick for my old eyes.
You saw more than me. I got Farm.
Maybe a Farm Product Safety Inspector or something? I'm not 100% certain.
Something.
Farm Product Processing Agent, maybe?
Too many words.
So many words. The words are hard.
Words are very hard.
Farm Product Purchasing Agent, according to Logos Ethos Pathos from chat. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you. Knowing what job our Job Dwarf has is very important.
It definitely is. Speaking of important things, knowing who the first boss at the Dwarf Castle is important. And I'm excited to find out, will it or won't it go blarg? Oh.
It will not, unfortunately.
It is going to punch really hard, though.
Yeah, these punches are not to be taken lightly.
No, these punches are being taken pretty hard right now. I think there's enough damage output to get through it. Now, the issue becomes, though, on the next fight, let's say it's something like, I don't know, Ogopogo. All of a sudden now, Eddie's going to be the only one alive for that fight. So let's hope for Mecha's sake that it's not something crazy in the second spot.
Indeed. But I believe Dragus Cloud is going to give us our favorite check of the seed, our music. So we're going to be quiet for a bit and let y'all hear the Spoony Bard play some tunes.
Wait, we have to be quiet? We don't talk through the whole thing? I thought we talked through the whole thing.
No, be quiet.
I thought that was a Rivers McCown special, was talking to the whole thing. Okay, I'll stop. Enjoy the music, y'all.
But it looks like we'll be getting a reprise of that because Wyvern decided to show up in Cape Magnus.
So I wanted Wyvern at Dwarf Castle, and we just get a ton of extra music because I wanted Wyvern. I'll take it. We get lots of music. I like music.
Indeed. Not many bosses will wipe out your party in one shot at Cave Magnus. Wyvern is the exception.
Yeah. Lots of bosses will wipe out music there, like Dr. Luge and Golbez, things like that. I guess Wyvern also wiped out the music, but at least we get to hear it again, and possibly again and again and again. But hopefully for Dragus' sake, this is only the second time that we'll hear it, and also the last. Because that's a long walk back.
Yeah, Cave Magnus is a fairly long dungeon, and a Wyvern in Cave Magnus is quite rude.
Yeah, this is where I wonder, for anchoring purposes, is it better to go with a fast anchor here and a slow battle speed rather than just the traditional slow anchor? Because if you're not at relative agility 1 with another party member at, let's say relative agility 2, it's hard to get enough acting members in the ATB queue in order to have the star veil go up on a faster battle speed. So it'll be interesting to see what Dragus's method for getting through this is.
Indeed.
Do we be quiet for this set of music, or do we talk through this one?
I think we should be quiet.
Oh, all right. All right, well, it looks like the musical dragon is no longer with us and Wyvern has been defeated. And that is going to be objective number 1 completed for Dragus Cloud. And hey, we have an objective on the board.
Yeah, our first objective is complete at a little bit over the 45-minute mark. And that Luca key.
I hate and love that Luca key. I love it because it's another key item check for our runners, and possibly maybe someone wants to get playful with some doors. I hate it because the spot at the end of the Luca cave, where the evil wall is in the vanilla game, is super fast, has really high magic stats, is fairly punchy, and this party is basically reliant on blinks and spoonword. So it's a tough spot right now for this party. But we'll see what Dragus decides to do. Looks like he is going to do Dwarf Castle, while Mecha is heading to go do music. So getting a little bit of a flip-flop from our runners, kind of crossing each other's paths.
Indeed. Mechalink, while Dragus was getting us music, did do Fabul defense and catch up on all the Sheila checks. And had the misfortune of discovering that Rydia's mom did not have the goods and merely had an Odin summon.
Speaking of potential misfortune, when was Mecha's last save?
Oh no.
Because I don't feel like I saw one after Fabul at all before coming to the Twin Harp.
Oh no.
Normally the spot would be fine and wouldn't be an issue, except for one very angry dragon and possibly a Golbez. So I'm hoping that Mecha is able to get through this, and this will be fine.
Looks like Dragus has decided that Pale Dim is. Oh no! Just realized that was still on Wyvern Standard Time. I approve of this reset. Getting back up to a reasonable battle speed.
I mean, of all the fights to go against at battle speed 6, going against a slow dragon kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
But it does look like Mechalink agility situation was a little bit better, and Kane was able to get that Star Veil up. Wyvern won't take itself out with this Mega Nuke, but we'll do a lot of the work.
Yep, and Mechalink through first time, so very nice.
Yeah, that could have gotten a little bit hairy if Wyvern had been able to get some nukes off, as I don't believe Mechalink has life pots.
Yeah, we may see a little bit of shopping percent from Mechalink now that they have their first objective on the board as well. What we have left so far is we have the Luka check, we have the Tower, and we have Val, if I'm not mistaken, as the 3 checks we don't know yet.
4 checks with the Tower key, but
Right.
yes.
So the top of the Tower, the Sealed Cave, and certainly Valvalis at Asura, those 3 you probably want some life potions for. Not so much the Super Cannon room, but the other 3 you definitely want. Having to walk this out, though, because no exit.
Yeah, not having the life potions means that those Tellas can't get up and cast exit.
Yeah.
But we did see CPU behind that Pale Dim at Dwarf Castle, which Dragus Cloud gets through easily. It looks like the character was a second Kane.
Yeah, and that second Kane, I'm thinking would I did not see if he did or not, but would be a good replacement for a second Tella.
I believe that is the replacement that Dragus made.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. 1 Tella is certainly very good. 2 Tellas falls off pretty fast.
3 Tellas, and you're just at the point where this is just a character that has Blink.
Right.
And Berserk. There's nothing else that you need from 3rd Tella.
We do, however, get a party rock from Dwarf Castle. So Tower of Zot is open. That is important for a couple of reasons. It's 2 cracks at Baigen, and also a very good chance at finding Rosa. And my guess is, if either of our runners found a Rosa with their current party composition, that Rosa is going to be added to the party so quick that if you blink, you might miss it.
Yeah, I would definitely like to have a dedicated white mage that is not Tella.
Yeah, Tella is great as a budget white mage and a budget black mage. He does a great job early on. He's suitable in the mid game, but we're getting actually pretty close to kind of the end game. We're at the tail end of the mid game. Once we find the Darkness Crystal, taking Tella to the moon is not an alluring option. So our runners are going to want to replace that Tella, that second Tella anyway, as soon as they can, and probably the first one too.
Indeed. I think the only Tella I'd feel comfortable taking to the moon is a napping Tella.
Very fair point.
Because Tella can be a wonderful agility anchor. but you only need one Tela to do the agility anchoring job.
And we know that this blue robe is the Water Hag and Super Cannon for our runners who have already found the Alt Gauntlet. This is not a fight that our runners want to see here. Water Hag is basically free wherever you find it, and this spot only has 600 health. So instead of being able to one-shot whatever's here, you now have to hit it 3 times. So pretty annoying fight, actually, to have the Super Cannon. Meanwhile, Mecha is dealing with another annoying fight, which is just Evil Wall's existence.
Yeah, Evil Wall is quite rude. Because the Evil Wall likes to cheat. It likes to keep starting chains and just getting itself in that queue over and over again, much faster than it should be.
Yeah, I know that everyone says agility is the true black magic of Final Fantasy IV. I think that makes Evil Wall some sort of master wizard, because Evil Wall has this ATB thing figured out to a T.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, you know. The sealed Evil Wall's vanilla location does have very high magic.
But even with this cheating Evil Wall and that super high magic that, you know, is used only to land petrifies, this Evil Wall cannot get through Blink. Blink is OP. Blink applies 2 stacks of the ability to ignore a physical attack for only the time of for only the casting of 1 spell. So you get 2 dodges effectively for 8 MP from one of your white mages, and Evil Wall just can't do enough to get through it.
Yep. It doesn't matter how much damage that punch would have done. If it's 1 punch, it only eats up one of the 2 uses of illusions that surround the party members. So putting Blink on a character is often a lot better than, or more effective in terms of damage prevention than trying to heal stuff up afterwards.
Definitely true. Blink is oftentimes far more powerful than any cure spell. And that is one thing that you know, a lot of folks who are first starting to run this game especially have troubles with. Well, there is our Darkness Crystal, though. So we are now transitioning from the mid game to the end game with the moon access. So this is a big moment in the seed. Going to have a character check on the moon. Could be that Rosa, could be a Fusoya, could be a Cecil. There's a number of characters that our runners would like to see right now.
Indeed. There are many very solid options to choose from up there. Mechalink is going to take on this Super Cannon Water Hag first. I do not blame him.
Yeah, this is definitely the prudent decision. It's basically a free spot. It's going to get our runners closer to 10 key items. Actually, Mechalink is already at 10 key items. Dragus will be getting closer to 10 key items. I believe right now Dragus has done Dwarf Castle. Mechalink has done Feymarch and the Dolls. So our runners are more or less dead even. They just have 1 check out of the way that the other has done or not done. So very, very close race so far.
Indeed. And it looks like they'll be pretty close coming out of this Tower of Babel.
Yeah, and I would assume that Mechalink is going to take another shot at the Dwarf Castle fight with Pale Dim with those extra levels. And I expect that we'll also see Dragus head down to the Feymarch and take care of at least the freebie. May or may not take care of the Calcabrana dolls, but I anticipate they will, since we know they bought that 10 stack of hourglasses.
Indeed. But first we'll be seeing what key item we're going to get from this tower key.
Yeah, it could even be something like a sand ruby or a package. Could be a pinktail. If it's a pinktail, it gets very interesting because then we know of 3 of the 5 objectives, and it's a matter of getting Rosa or defeating Baigu.
Yeah, Pinktail would be very spicy here. But that's a Baron key. That's is another character check and does add 2 more boss checks behind that Dark Knight Cecil that we saw at the beginning.
Yeah, that Baron key is definitely interesting. It opens up a lot of different checks. To your point, some boss checks, some character checks, lots of different things opened up there. And speaking of things opening up, we have 5 new gift subs from Tella Says Relax gifted out to the community, opening up some emotes for some folks. So thank you so much for that support, Tella Says Relax.
Yeah, thanks for that. Dragus Cloud has picked up his Legend Sword now. Is going to be hopefully finding the Sirens.
Yeah, I would say normally if you were about to go to the moon, let's say, you would want to do a grind and kind of get everyone up to moon levels anyway. But I don't know if you do that grind yet. I think you're incentivized to go look at Tower of Zot, and I think probably Baron after Tower of Zot, since doing the Tower of Zot will land you outside Baron anyway. I think routing wise that makes more sense, but you want to find some more characters you want to get to end game levels.
Yes.
Not necessarily looking to grind the Tella up to level 50.
No, I'm not super excited by this party, especially with the relative lack of good cane weapons that we've seen.
Yeah.
Those canes are not looking super attractive to me. The Spoonword I will take.
We'd be looking at Spoonword, Rune Axe, Blizzard Spear. Spoonword is good in that equation.
Yeah, Spoonword is great. If you really want to do a bit of grinding, getting Palom up to nuke wouldn't be too bad with 10 key items.
Definitely true.
But
and looks like Dragus also going for the Hourglass here. Did not use it with the first character to act, which was Tella. Looks like he is taking a reset. I think he might want to heal up a little bit or rearrange some spells. No, going to Fade the Dolls.
oh my goodness.
Ooh, that's a very big moment because we know that that's the Forge. So let's hope that he's going to be doing some other Earth checks and gets driven back to the Forge before heading to the moon. Once he gets the darkness, or he should already have the darkness crystal. Actually, he did top a tower.
It does look like he's planning on heading up the Tower of Zot. This is a very good opportunity to find a Rosa.
Yeah, I definitely like this this routing here. Go to Zot and have it drop you off right in Baron. Makes a whole lot of sense. And also 2 cracks at a character. Particularly finding something like an Excalibur wielding Cecil to complement that Spoonword really would turn this team around. You would have 2 fantastic sources of damage as opposed to 1 fantastic source plus a couple of mediocre sources. But it does look like we're going to get to play everyone's favorite game of Rate That Treasury. So it's exciting, y'all. Party fun time. Defense Sword, Power Shirt, Crystal Ring, Life Staff. That's 4 good items. I'll give it a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, the Defense Sword is amazing for Kane right now because suddenly Kane can actually do some damage. But yeah, there were also a lot of kind of dud items in that treasury.
There definitely were.
Not excited about that lit bolt or the heal pot.
Well, it was 2 lit bolts, which is even less exciting, and a big bomb. So, yeah, those were not ideal.
No, but the power shirt, the life staff is actually very nice for Mechalink, since that gives you infinite lives in battle. Although we also see another life staff in Coco's Forge.
Yeah. We do see, though, that this is going to give our runners a Power Shirt Defense Sword Zeus Gauntlet Cane, or the Power Shirt can go on Spoonward, either one that the runners choose. So I think it can't be understated how valuable that the Power Shirt in particular and the Defense Sword are going to be there. That's a huge uptick for our runners.
But it does look like the Defense Sword is also available for sale in Coco's shop.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with 98,000 to buy it, though, or whatever the price is on it.
But it
that's a toughie.
Bought one. We'll see if he decides to loot the treasury and potentially get a second one.
Yeah, we'll see. Dragus is going to cabin up, make sure he is prepared for these 2 fights in the Tower of Zot. Generally not too scary with the power of this party. Again, Zot is an early game check. This is a mid to early late game party. So most things will crumble here. I think this is Ogopogo or Plague. Looks like we get Plague, so we still get the Canadian Nope Noodle somewhere out there in the ether, which of course we hope is on the moon.
I would love it if he showed up on the moon.
Our runners wouldn't, but we would.
No. The runners would be quite upset, I imagine.
The best part, though, of having a Spoonword to go against Ogopogo, though, is that it's not a lot of health to heal up, since it takes only half away.
That is true.
Of course,
it does look like Mechalink is going to head into that treasury. Probably will be happy to see the second defense sword and the power shirt.
Yeah, that's going to be double defense sword cane. Again, not great, but passable. Sid is not exactly what you want to see here. However, Sid does facilitate the anchor roll very well on these flags, starting at 9 agility. Equipping with a Dwarf Axe drops Sid to 4 agility, which will make everyone else relative agility 1 in your party, including Tella. So we might actually see a Sid pickup here. This is not the character selection in Zot you wanted, though. That's a Yang as well as a Sid. Yikes.
Yeah, this is not the character selection you want to see going when you're preparing to do a moon dive. I think the routing is correct 100%, and we see Mechalink coming in here doing the same. But wow, that is an underwhelming set of characters for this stage of the game. And no Baigen either, so Rosa being elusive and Baigen being elusive. Yeah, I'm really liking this, actually, the fact that our character and our boss still haven't shown up yet.
Yeah, it makes it more interesting when it's not like, a 45-minute go mode and then it's a mad scramble to the finish, unless, of course, it's a super close race, which this still is. But it's nice to kind of get the full tour as well and get to see all the sights through all the different places in the world.
Indeed. The one other advantage of doing Zod is that now Rosa, when we find her, will have exit.
Yay!
It's not worth going out of your way for, but if you're doing the Tower of Zot, I mean...
we're going to call that the Tower of Zonk, because that was a whole bunch of garbage. The treasury was okay, the entire tower was a bust. On to Baron we go.
I, I mean, I will say that Protect Ring is better than that Odin summon.
I mean, I guess.
I'm aware that's a very low bar.
I mean, I'd take a cabin over the Odin summon.
Honest? Oh, I'd take the Odin summon to sell it. If items did not sell for any money, then absolutely I take the cabin over the Odin summon.
Fair. Looks like we're getting no save from Dragus going into Baron. The only thing really left that's kind of spooky at this point would be Golbez, so I don't hate this play. No need really to be super safe and save in the Baron Sewer. So I think, also knowing Pain Man is here, he's more like Tickle Man at this spot. It's really not going to be punchy. His Dark Waves are going to do probably about 100 damage, and it's really very easy.
Looks like is opting to go for the fight through this Pain Man. It's working.
Yeah, that was a Pain Man. It is now going to be turned to dust very soon.
Yes, turns out that if you do enough damage, the Dark Knight just goes away without giving his speech.
Yeah, the only justice in this world is less speeches.
Speeches are long and boring.
It's true. It looks like Mechalink was considering taking Sid there for quite a while, but then decided against it. And looks like we have a variant of Mylon on the Baron throne. We've not seen either yet. But we have Mylon and friends. So it should be a spoon hit and a quake, and this fight will most likely be over. And thank you very much, Dusky, Griff, and friends for that raid. As y'all can see, we are roughly an hour, 10 minutes in between Dragus and Mechalink. Very close race so far. Big difference being, to this point, that Mechalink has completed the Forge, which was locked behind the Calbrena dolls in the Fey March, and Dragus has not. That is our main sticking point at this time, just to kind of catch y'all up.
Indeed. Otherwise, they've mostly done the same checks. Dragus is in Baron Castle a little bit ahead of Mechalink, but Mechalink does have that advantage of having the dolls done.
So I heard you like Kane.
Why not?
Like a third?
No thanks.
So Rosa is either on the moon, at the Sand Ruby, at the package, or at the end of Giant. So maybe we have Baigen at CPU with Rosa on the Giant? I can hope, right?
That would be exciting. I kind of prefer Baigen at Elements, though.
Fair.
Gotta love those 10,000 HP plus arms.
Yeah, Baigen is absolutely disgusting at Elements, because the arms soak up so much damage, especially with a Zerker team.
It just takes so much health. It's unnecessary.
Takes like 10 years to get through it. Oh, would you like some Hanzo for an Edge who we have not yet seen? I think that's our second Hanzo.
Sure.
And looks like while Mecha is going through to Baron proper, Dragus is going to give us our first peek at the basement.
One thing I will note about that third Kane is that means that we have now seen all of our duplicate characters with one duplicate Tella and two duplicate Kanes. There are only 3 dupes in the seed. So there will only be one copy of Rosa when we find her.
Well, looks like we have located King Queen Eblin, and looks like Dragus is going to just opt to try to burn the King and Queen down instead of just letting them script out.
I can see this play. The King of Eblon only has about 10,000 HP, maybe a little more.
Yeah, I think it's probably about the same. Zerking is actually generally slower here than just attacking directly, because your Zerker can split damage with the Queen, and then the script doesn't play out where she just kind of disappears when the king dies. But that was a good hit from Spoonward going straight into the king. Overall, though, a lot of the time it is just quicker to let them script out. But looks like this worked out well for Dragus. So might have saved maybe 5 or 10 seconds there by attacking.
Yeah. We're getting some nice levels from this Baron basement.
Crystal Ring.
I mean, that's marginally better than the Protect Ring, maybe, in some circumstances.
Looks like he's going to walk out the Crystal Ring as well as the experience from the King and Queen.
I mean, at least it's better than Odin.
I think we can say that about just about everything. Until we see a Flame Whip show up, I think that's going to be the case.
Flame Whip, I'm having trouble thinking of many other items that would be worse.
Yeah, my favorites are Flame Whips, Long Swords, Odin Summons. The things that you just sit there and stare and you're like, but why?
Actually, with this starting kit, a Dwarf Axe.
That's fair.
Because there's no reason to have a second Dwarf Axe. It's completely useless.
Looks like Palom is out on Mecha's side.
Yeah, maybe not willing to get that Palom up the high levels to get that to get Nuke online, and is thinking this third Kane might be doing better damage, especially since I think Mechalink already has 2 defense swords.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. We see Dragus buying 40 Bacchus wine. That is a number of Bacchus wine. More than I have ever purchased in a seed in my life. So congratulations, Dragus. Today I've seen something as a first.
Yeah, that should give Dragus enough Bacchus wines to just berserk through everything else in the seed.
And yeah, it looks like Mechalink is going Spoonward, Kane, Tella. So that's also very much a thing that's happening. So very interesting party comps that our runners have been kind of forced into by this seed.
I mean, when you know there are defensive swords for sale, you may as well load up on all the canes the seed will give you.
That's fair. 98,000 a pop. Buy some Bacchus wines. You're going to have to loot to afford it all, but it'll get the job done in the end. I personally find Kane to be patently average on this flag set, but if you can get him a defense sword, a power shirt, a Zeus gauntlet, and you got a bunch of them just running around hitting things, it'll get the job done.
They will get through things. Kane is not spectacular by any means, but he can do some work.
Now, the fun thing happens here, with all these canes. What if that Val has the package, the only roses there, and Baigan is the package boss? That would also be a really spicy little confluence of events.
It certainly would.
Don't ruin the dream, Rosa. Don't do it. Don't show up now.
Don't show up. I mean, our runners are definitely hoping for Rosa to show up here, but no.
Nice. It's an edge. Lunar Edge. Well, we certainly have weapons for him as long as our runners haven't sold them. I know there's been ninja swords and Masumune's. Tons of good edge stuff. And Dragus says, no thank you. I will stick with my canes and my Spoonward.
I believe Dragus just sold the Masamune as part of the buy all of the Bacchus.
Ah, well, that makes sense then.
Plus, at this point, Edge would be a little bit behind the rest of the party, and Edge's HP growth is not spectacular.
It's not, but when you have Sirens and Hourglasses, a couple of gold dragons, and that problem resolves itself very quickly.
Yep, but I imagine is content to just stick with the party that he has, and just looks like is diving straight down towards the bottom of the moon.
Yeah, this is interesting. I think I like it though because you're looking for a package, you're looking for a sand ruby. Those two and the giant are your only things left. In Dragus's mind, also, he's looking for half of the forge. So he's looking for 3 different key items. So he thinks that should be on the moon somewhere, plus possibly a pink tail. So that's really 4 key items that you're looking for. So bottom up makes a lot of sense, just based on simple math. Top down is very unlikely to get you go mode in this situation. Plus, he does have to pass. So he is incentivized to blow up the bottom of the moon, come back to Earth once go mode is found, and just finish the seed. So I don't hate this pathing at all. And we might be getting some gold dragons here as he is stopping on Lunar Subterrane 6, which is where the double gold dragons can be summoned with sirens.
I have some news for you. The Sandruby character is Cecil, as Mechalink has just peeked it, which means that our Rosa is either behind the package or in the giant.
I am all for this.
Also, we know now that there was an Excal Cecil potentially in the seed, but that Sandruby is probably locked away behind something pretty challenging.
Yeah, Rosa doing her best hide and seek impression, or playing her best hide and seek game. But that is very smart for Mechalink before going to the moon to check the Sand Ruby. Because in Mechalink's shoes, that would allow him at that point to be looking for either a pink tail or just finding Baigen if he were to find the Sand Ruby.
Yeah. Very smart to know to just before, especially this long moon dive, to know whether the Sand Ruby is a valuable key item or, in this case, not so much.
Yeah. And looks like Dragus is opting to keep this Tella alive for these gold dragons. So I'm not sure, has Dragus found a cursed ring, or have either of our runners and I just missed it?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So it looks like they're just going to go with kind of a vanilla agility type setup where whoever's the closest to what is likely going to be 28 is probably going to be the anchor in Dragus's situation.
Could also make the last minute swap to Rosa anchor.
That's true. Rosa would have 8 agility starting out, if I remember correctly, which makes her a viable anchor as well.
I mean, if you know that you might be getting... You're probably going to get another character because Rosa is that objective. And she starts at a low enough agility that she could be an anchor. It seems like a play that makes sense to me, although it's not going to help you through these moon bosses.
Yeah, I mean, the moon bosses shouldn't be too bad on vanilla agility, or vanilla light, if you will, in this case. Especially with all these levels, they're just going to be crushing it as far as damage is concerned. So with all the Zerkers going, the queue's going to be clogged. It won't be too much of an issue, even with, a non-relative agility 1 party. Where that kind of falls apart is if it's, let's say, Baigen at like the Ogopogo spot.
Yeah,
where...
that sounds not fun.
Right, yeah.
Mecha did take the edge, but had sold all of the Hanzo steel.
And getting rid of Spoonword. Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Spoonword, not very survivable, but he does some serious work against Zeromus.
Yeah, that's... Huh. I'm going to want to ask about that, I'm not going to lie, because there's got to be some galaxy brain thing there that I'm not thinking of. Maybe he's going to go buy a bunch of Drain Spears.
Maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah, the only weapon he had for that edge was the Mute Knife. And the starting Ice Claw, which is not exactly what you're hoping for.
Mute Knife is great, but yeah,
Mute Knife is spectacular to have, but not as your primary weapon.
I think he may just be thinking, let me go after this Val, let me grind some eggs, let me get all these beefy boys up to their maximum potential on HP and go from there. Oh baby, we have a Ribbon Room Kainatsu. Hello damage, my old friend. You better do it quick, or you'll see the end again.
Yeah, this is a rather scary fight. There are a couple worse Kainazos, but not many.
No, the issue is the first wave here is going to wipe out Tella and Edward guaranteed, so you have to make sure the first wave doesn't go off. The other three characters are actually going to survive, so it's not a huge issue. But yeah, this fight's pretty much over. This is a ton of damage that got dealt. That was a very well done initial lit one to get that first wave knocked out. That Blizzard Spear also cranking out almost 3,500, so very nice fight here from Dragus to get through Kainatsu first try on Battle Speed 1 at the Ribbon Room. Very, very well done.
Indeed. At this point, with the damage that Spoonward and the Canes are putting out, this Kainazo shouldn't be too scary, even if it does get a wave off.
Yeah, this a wave now would do a couple hundred tops. So yeah, this fight is done and dusted. Shell already. But it is interesting, you know, even though Dragus is clearing out all of these lunar checks, the thing hanging over his head is going to be that adamant. We know where it is. We know it's at the dolls. There's the pink tail, so Ribbon Room has value. Kainazo at the lunar spot.
Yep. At this point, we in the booth are just looking for either Rosa or Baigen. But Dragus is looking for a package, potentially, or that Adamant. Or the Sandruby, since I don't believe he's checked the Kaipo bed. But that's not a Baigen, that's an Antlion.
Yeah, tell me a more iconic duo than Antlion and appearing on the moon. I will wait. I swear, the silly little creature that you're supposed to fight in the first 5 minutes of the game is always up here getting a good view with those googly little eyes.
It does feel like Antlion shows up on the moon very frequently. And always in the rudest of spots.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's no nice place to find Antlion on the moon. Everything is super punchy.
Yeah. I mean, this spot's not the absolute worst. I don't hate a Murasame Antlion.
That's fair. The Murasame spot is fairly tame, as is this Plague spot, by comparison to some of the other places.
Yes, in comparison, these spots are not the worst. But, Cape Bahamut Antlion, a Crystal Sword Altar Antlion, no thanks.
Yeah, I'm good on both of those. Speaking of being good on things, a Dragoon helmet. I don't think that's what Dragus was looking for.
No. It is useful, but not exactly what you're hoping for. Meanwhile, Mechalink is going to the Giant of Bavil.
Yeah, this is Mecha saying one of two things happens here. I win or I lose, and it's on my terms. So indeed. I applaud this 100%.
I mean, Mecha at this point knows that this is a 50% chance that Rosa is here, and there are two bosses here, so there could be a Baigen. So I don't hate this play.
No, and also Mecha's probably thinking, and has correctly assessed the situation that if all the value is on the moon, and I already cleared all of Earth, and I didn't go to the moon, I'm probably behind. So I would have to either go top down or go to the giant to catch back up. So if he hits pay dirt with either Baigen or Rosa here, or potentially both, this could absolutely be a winning play. So this is either win or go home. And I mean, that's a air quotes free fight. That's those guards. They can be hourglassed. Tella can weak them. This is doable. There's a coffin, so that's going to make quick work of one of them, and we have 40 life pots now, and we have a Mylon Z down on Dragus' side as well.
Yeah, Mylon Z is a very nice boss to see at this Masamune altar.
Well, that's a crystal sword, y'all.
Yeah, that's a crystal sword for the Cecil, who will likely just end up sleeping in Kaipo Seed.
The worst part is you can't even dart it.
Nope.
And Tella hitting the stone, gaining 10 levels. Mechalink probably not caring right now, just being like, can we please get this over with? Give me a Rosa, give me a Baigen. Of course, Baigen at CPU is so unbelievably punchy. That is just all kinds of ouch, get out of my life. But at the same time, Mechalink wants to see it. Well, that's French vanilla.
Yeah, that is French vanilla, but that does give us our information that Baigen is not here in the giant.
But Rosa still could be.
That is true. We could still have Rosa.
Oh, interesting. Looks like Mecha is going to go for Reflected Fire 3s here instead of just zerking elements down. My assumption here, the reasoning is the Fire 2 and Fire 3 and Glare from the Ruby form. He's concerned that he will just explode. And that's a very good concern to have because it is definitely something that could happen.
Yeah, these spells are... The magic power here is quite strong. And Fire 3 is going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, the everything here is quite strong.
Yes, except the HP.
Tella doing a great job of dodging. Ruby just exploded. Was it leg? It in fact was on Dragus' side. It is leg no more.
Yes, we have no more leg.
No more leg. Quarter leg on the right, full leg on the left. Artemis bow, that's not what you want to see. Is there even anyone in the party that can use it? I guess Edward, and he's not going to. He has a spoon.
No, why would you use an Artemis bow when you have a spoon? Besides agility shenanigans.
Yeah, that's it. And do we get a Rosa, or do we get a sad Mechalink? We will know very shortly. We have, well, I mean...
that's
so...
but...
So you take that, because it's a foo, but you're really sad, because now you've done the giant, and you didn't get either objective, and yeah, like, it's a consolation prize, but now you feel super behind.
Dude, Dragus has cleared the entire bottom of the moon now. Is now going into the Murasame altar.
Yeah, so my assumption now is we see Mechalink go go top down in the hopes that Dragus went bottom up, which would be correctly assessed, or is going to go after Val now.
Or Sealed Cave. Neither of our runners have been down the Sealed Cave.
That's a good point as well.
And It looks like this is what Mecha's thinking.
Yeah, it's interesting. With Warp on the table for so long, my assumption would be that someone would have checked it by now. I didn't even think that neither one of them has peaked. Since you can see the item and see the boss before even having to fight him. There's a package for Dragus, so we know that that's the answer.
Yep, we do know now that that means that our Rosa, at least, is gated by the moon.
Where is this Baigen? Did I get lucky and hit the Rosa Baigen combo at the package? I hope so.
I really do hope so too. But we do have this sealed cave boss as well, and I think we still have Cave Bahamut.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to find out Cave Bahamut very soon. Boy, Baigen at Cave Bahamut would stink.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that would be fun.
Like, yeah, here's your objective, but hope you're ready for the pain.
Yeah, with the number of white mages that we've seen, I'm not looking forward to this.
Oh, baby.
Oh my.
That is the Baigen to end all Baigens right there, y'all.
Oh no, and Mechalink has found the rat tail in the sealed cave.
Yeah, so Mecha's got to walk this out. This is not good.
No.
This Baigen is not what you want to see. Yes, it's your objective, but this is not what you want to see.
Oh, hi Golbez.
Well, okay, so the one plus side here is that if you can get a single veil off, Golbez is going to absolutely obliterate himself. The bad news is Mecha is not anchored in the traditional sense of having a relative agility 1 party. So can he even get that veil up?
Hopefully one of these two characters with a crystal ring survives.
Don't do it, Xeno.
Oh no.
Xenocat, why would you do that to Mecha?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
I guess he's full. He's full of hate. That was rude, Golbez.
That was very rude.
If y'all want to see big numbers, these are about to be some big numbers. It's a 3480 virus. Does get the Starvel off on Kane, though. This lit 3, reflecting for 6200. That's fun. And by fun, I mean ow.
Baigen giving Crystal Mail, as Dragus Cloud is through that check now.
And we know that Dragus is actually in go mode. He doesn't, but can turn that pink tail in, can get that Rosa from the package, and he's ready to give Z a butt whooping.
Yeah.
So he'll figure out that he's in go mode very shortly. Since all they need is 4 out of 5, he does not need the adamant from the dolls in the Fey March. And meanwhile, Mecha is about to kill Golbez. There we go. And so Mecha is going to be on his way out of Sealed Cave with that rat tail. Gonna turn that in. And at this point, the rat tail has to be the Sand Ruby, correct?
I believe so.
I think that's the only thing we don't know.
I don't think Mecha's going to take the Cecil. At this point, having been through the Giant of Babel already, and already being done with the grind, it feels a little bit bad to take Cecil, even if you know you have an Excal for him.
Yeah, I don't think either runner takes Cecil at this point. Dragus has a Crystal Sword, wouldn't touch him, because he's ready to go. Mecha's got 4 Zerkers. Avenger is great for a Kane. You don't necessarily need a Cecil for that. Chat is pointing out Sand Ruby could be behind Val. That is a good point. The rat tail could be a bust entirely. But we should get a package check fairly soon. There we go. Dragus finding his way to the Mist Village. And Dragus will soon be in go mode. Putting the Avenger on for the package check is a curious choice, as you just want to let that cutscene fade out. You don't want to actually have the Avenger go off. So as long as he doesn't pass turns, that Avenger will never actually trigger because the Berserk status won't be set. And looks like we have some Baron guards burning down the Mist Village. I don't know vanilla-wise if that's accurate or not, but it's happening now.
It's not the vanilla sprite, but makes sense with vanilla lore. I can get behind it.
But yeah, that's an elixir from the rat tail, so we know that the sand ruby is behind Val. So all along, if you wanted to spend 5 minutes trying to get through Val for absolutely no reason, you would be rewarded with a very fancy sword-wielding Cecil.
Indeed, but I don't think either runner would be thrilled to get that Cecil.
Yeah, but I think Mech is kind of at the point where they have to do something that's off the beaten path. And Moon being the preeminent play on these flag sets a lot of times, with how many times it's hard required or at least partially required. If the value's on the Moon, Mechalink pretty much knows they're already done because the Moon option was in play 40 to 50 minutes ago. So I agree with this assessment that you go take on this Val. We know it's not going to pay off, unfortunately, but it's a smart play from the standpoint of betting against the Moon in this case.
Yeah, makes sense to do this in terms of betting against the Moon. However, and the unfortunate thing is, well, Mecha might be hoping for here is a package that we both Rosa and Vigan.
Right.
I believe that's the only way he could get, in his mind at least, go mode from this Feymarch check. Which unfortunately won't happen. Oh hey, there's the nope rope.
Yeah, also looking for, if it's the package, if it's the pigtail, still needs to find something. And then he can skip out on the first possible thing he sees on the Moon. So, has the darts to get through this. Don't know if he's going to use them or not, but can jump, can deal damage, can get through this. It won't be too hard. Dragus, though, in go mode, has the crystal at the 1 hour and 40-minute mark. So we should see Dragus finishing up here probably in the next 6 or 7 minutes with this party. Going to have a lot of Zerkers going. And this is now, and has been for probably about the last 5 to 10 minutes only, though. This is Dragus's race to lose. He is in the driver's seat 100% now.
Yeah, with that pass, no need to walk through the entire lunar subterrane. Just going to fly the Enterprise over to Troya and get ready for this final fight. And based on those levels, I don't think Dragus is going to have any issues with this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the agility is for the team. Might be a little fast, but I think he should still be okay. Xenocat, I see a lot of Z's in chat. I mean, we have been going for a little while. Is everyone tired? Is that what's going on?
No, I'm starting to feel a little tired myself, but somehow I don't think that's what they're on about.
Oh, I mean, the sun's setting here. It's a beautiful sunset today. I guess though there is a question we have to ask. And Xenocat, I'm terrible at questions, so I like giving answers instead. How about you ask a question?
Okay, I think the question is, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? We like randomizing things, but we can't move Zeromus around because Zeromus is big and bad and scary and a final boss, and moving him around is, scary. Because Big Bang is a big bad attack. So instead of randomizing his location, we randomized his sprite. So once this crystal is tossed, we will see what sprite Zeromus has put on today.
Hopefully, ha-ha-hamas. That's always my favorite.
I'm not even going to guess. There's too many.
Oh, it's Yetimus? Yeah. The abominable snowman skiing game or whatever it was, if I remember right, from like 30 years ago. Yeah, ski free. See, chat smart.
Wow. This is right.
It was really scary as a kid. But meanwhile, whilst Dragus is going through, I think Dragus tried to Hourglass 2 Yetimus. That's not gonna work, unfortunately. And now I think we have a direct nuke going.
Yeah, and I think that direct nuke is going to come a little too late to nerf the first Big Bang.
That's not how you want to start a Z fight.
No.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see a reset there. Have Dragus recollect himself, regather his thoughts, go back in, and get it done this time for sure. But what I will say is, our runners have been at this quite a while, this seed, for our entertainment. And I don't think we've had a chance to do this yet. So while we have this moment, make sure to give our runners a follow. Dragus and Mecha, both phenomenal runners, doing their darndest to put on a show for you. So please give them a follow. Please give Xenocat, my co-commentator, a follow. Xenocat streams an amazing free enterprise stream. Lots of great information, lots of great gameplay. Also, please make sure to give Microcorgs, our tracker, a follow. And also Niabari, our restreamer, a follow, who also rolled this wonderful Package Rosa Beigen at Value Cave seed for all of our entertainment.
And I'd just like to add, please give Possumorpheus a follow. For all the hyping up of me that he did, Possumorpheus is better at this game than I am. And knows a lot more than I do.
You are far too kind, but I will take the compliments. I appreciate it. So it looks like Dragus is going in for round 2 with Yetimus. Going to get a bluff up on the kid first, so that way the nukes will be guaranteed to do quad 9s, basically. Looks like he has Avenger going already on one of his Canes. This should be okay. It shouldn't freeze Kane, although the Avenger is always a tricky little mistress there as far as how it wants to perform or not in battle.
Indeed, the Avenger can sometimes do some weird things.
Was that a Bacchus swine on Tella as well?
Yes.
Nice. Clogging the queue. I like it.
That 103 damage that Tella is bonking for is going to be so valuable.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. I mean, that's one of the 2 targets you want that counter nuke to hit.
Yeah, that's good.
This may just be the age-old thing of, if I can deal more damage than Zeromus can, I will simply just win. Not having to worry about second big bangs, not having to worry about anything like that. Might even be trying for a 0 big bang here with a second direct nuke.
Yeah, another quad 9 nuke. That one unfortunately hitting Tella, so I don't think we're going to be seeing any more bonks.
Nothing of value was lost.
Yeah.
Doesn't get the 0 big bang. It was close though. That was a ton of damage that came out.
Yep, unfortunately we are going to see our first big bang. Everyone should survive this.
Still just going to town with the direct nukes. This is Dragus just saying somebody is going to die. It's either going to be Zeromus or me.
Yep.
That's the perfect counter target.
That is. That's the one character that would survive that.
The question is, what do you do from here? Is this another direct nuke? No, Elixir on the big cane. That makes sense.
Gotta make sure someone can survive.
Yeah, and to answer some speculation from chat, that was not in any way an attempt at a nerf. That was simply pushing damage as much as possible. This will be a nuke to both nerf and just push more damage. This is an incredibly aggressive fight. There's Meteo already, though. That was very well done.
Very well done. Unfortunately, Edward is going to get knocked down by those rocks. But there's the flash.
Yeah, GG to Dragus, moving to 2-0. Fantastic job. And we are joined by Dragus nearly immediately. GG Dragus, very well done.
GG. Thanks.
So you got to experience pretty much the entire seed. Rosa at the package, Baigan at Value Cave. Thoughts on the seed as a whole? Any particular standout moments for you?
Pretty much had to do a whole bunch, really.
Yeah, the seed really made you do a lot of it. Especially with that moon, you needed to go all over the moon to get all the items you needed.
Basically got bagging at the last location. I was gonna go to Giant, really.
Yeah, and that giant play is actually something that that your opponent Mechalink actually did, was go to the giant. So we got to see even more of the seed than you did between the two of y'all. So yeah, it was a very interesting race to watch. Y'all were very close for the longest time until we got some late game divergence. Kind of take us through your thoughts of, you know, your ordering of operations, if you will, the, you know, clearing of the Earth instead of making the earliest possible attempt on the moon. Is that something you normally do, or was that driven by the objectives?
This would be something I normally do. Prefer to go to the moon later.
Definitely makes sense. And as far as your party composition goes and your Zeromus fight, I just wanted to commend you, especially on that Zeromus fight. That was a fantastic Z fight. Very aggressive. Yeah, very aggressive with the direct nukes to push the damage. Got some good counter targets as well. But I thought that was phenomenally done. And I wanted to shout that out, that was excellent to watch.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Kainatsu fight also was really good. Like you kind of kicked it into really high gear once you had your Zerkers going. I know you had purchased 40 Bacchus wines.
Yeah.
I've never seen that many purchased before, so I thought that was really cool also.
I got 40 because I knew I wasn't shopping anymore this seed.
That's 100% fair and valid. It was awesome to watch. You know, just kind of turn the dial to 11, let everyone go to town with those wines, and just rip through everything.
At this point, it was just bulldoze everything that was left until I ran out of stuff to bulldoze.
And it worked. I'm kind of out of stuff to say, though. I thought your performance was phenomenal tonight. Anyone who joins you in 2-0, best check themselves, because you could definitely wreck them. So yeah, I've kind of got nothing else to say on this end. Xenocat, do you have any questions for Dragus?
No questions, but really well run race. Just phenomenal. Actually, I will say, I do have one thing actually. How annoyed were you when you got to the bottom of Cave Magnus, and Wyvern showed up.
Oh boy. It's like, this was going to be the rough fight. I was annoyed. It's like, oh boy, I gotta have to reset it out of this.
Yeah, that was I think one little bit of like major time loss that I saw was that reset, unfortunately. But I mean, what are the odds?
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it for me. Any final thoughts on the seed before we let you go?
Not really.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us watch you do what you do best, Dragus. Congrats again on moving to 2-0 over some very good opponents. I know that both you and Mecha made top 32 in the last tournament. So, cheers to you for getting past a very tough opponent today. And let's hope we can see you continue on and make it to brackets.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Well, that was Dragus, our first place finisher this evening. Fantastic job, as we said. Moving to 2-0 in the Swiss rounds. It's only going to get harder from here, but Dragus proved tonight that they can get through a tough seed with an interesting character selection. That's for darn sure. So anyone who goes up against them in the 2-0 bracket, best of luck. That's going to be a tough one.
For sure. But meanwhile, Mechalink has obtained his Rosa. Enters go mode. And we should be seeing Mechalink pretty much head straight to Zeromus at this point.
Yeah, Mechalink has the levels. Everyone in the 50 plus range. I think just took Rosa as the anchor, as you had speculated earlier, Xenocat. So very heads up recognition on your part on that, and on Mechalink's as well.
Yeah, that edge without any good weapons, I mean, you could throw things, I guess. But I think is going to be relying on Triple Cane to just go.
Yeah, as Dragus had put it, bulldoze through everything. That's what Mech is going to do to old Yetimus here. It will be bulldozed.
Yep. We have one Cane with a Rune Axe, two with defense swords.
Yeah, I think that's a defense sword, power shirt, Zeus gauntlet, Cane in particular. That's going to be a beefy boy, and that's going to be doing a lot of damage. Lifestaff, Wizard Hat, Black Shirt, Crystal Ring, Fu should survive any unnerfed Big Bangs as well, and will get a ton of healing with that Lifestaff in particular. So I'm guessing we won't see too many nukes from this Fusoya, probably going to be used more as a heal bot than anything.
Yeah, this party should be fairly safe through this Zeromus fight. 3 Canes all going at it. Should be putting out some decent damage.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate for our runners that, the edge with all of the shiny swords we found for him and the Cecil all came so late. Cane, he's going to be souped up and he's going to be good here. But I don't know that I don't know if we get to 4,000 a swing. Which means there's probably going to be an unnerfed Big Bang somewhere in here. So hopefully the Canes dodge enough rolls that we can see Big Bang into Medio and the Canes still survive that. That would kind of be my only fear for this party. It's just that their DPS output is not going to be quite enough to skip the second Big Bang.
Yeah, I don't see this party putting out quite enough damage for that. to skip that second Big Bang, although I really doubt we're going to see a third.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a cast of slow. Well, that was a 4452 hit. That was much more than I expected, but that Kane is probably level 57 or 58 based on the HP. So
yeah, that is a high level Kane.
That's a beefier Kane than I'm used to. So my damage projection there may have been a little off. The 1500 from the Runex Kane makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. The other defense sword Kane should be swinging for around 2500 to 3000.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It does look like that 4400 damage was a little bit of a high roll on that top Kane.
Gotta love damage variability.
Yep. Sometimes you swing for 3000, sometimes you swing for 4000.
Yeah, so this party is pushing about 8500 around, let's say 8000 to 8500. That's going to put you firmly into Big Bang intermedio territory. You want to be about 995 to about 10k around to skip the second Big Bang. Also, with this only having one slow applied, doesn't actually do much in the way of changing the agility situation. A second stack of slow is actually needed to have any meaningful difference for the relative agility 1 berserkers. So while it did nerf the initial Big Bang, it's not actually going to have the long-term impact that one might hope from a single slow cast because of the party composition. So I think we're destined for a second Big Bang here. Hopefully we get a lot of big high rolls from these Canes and we don't see that. But we shall see.
Indeed we shall.
And there is a shake. We'll see if Mecha goes for a nerf at all. It is possible that was a fake shake, depending on the amount of damage that's been done. That was not a fake shake. So this is a moment of truth. Does Fusoya survive? He should, with a crystal ring and a life staff. He does. A relatively low roll across the board, so that's a very good thing to see.
Yes, everyone's fine. The Cure 4 gets off before Yetimus can do anything else to the party. And there's Rocks.
Yeah, very quick, very smooth. We had two fantastic Zeromus fights here. So very well done by both runners. And there is the crack and the flash, and Yetimus is down for Mechalink, finishing in second place, moving to 1-1 with a time of 2 hours and 42 seconds. And it looks like Mecha has declined an interview, but still GG's to them. Fantastic race. Made the plays you make to try to win. The giant play was fantastic. Got through it very quickly and efficiently. It just didn't happen to have either of the parts that they were hoping for. But we are not going to be raiding anywhere after this race between Dragus and Mecha. We are going to be staying right here. Another race is coming up. It's going to be Plumerian Knight and Gaming with a Wraith in the next race. So do not move. Do not change that channel. Do not spin that dial. The next race will be coming up very shortly.
Indeed. But that will be all for us on the Restream team. We will be handing you off to another wonderful team to take you through the next race. So don't go anywhere. And, well, we ourselves will not be right back. We'll have some other wonderful members of our community will be here very shortly for another fun free enterprise race.